Hang Seng is 0.8% in the green.
TPG Capital is looking to sell close to 1,000 crores worth of stake in the company. That comes to around 1.9% of the total shareholding.
The government is not having any plans to change the December 16 deadline in terms of receiving the expressions of interest for IDBI Bank privatization.
Kotak has written a note on NMDC and they've upgraded the stock to buy with a target price of 130 rupees.
Not a bad opening at all. The Nifty is up 40 points.
It would be fair to assume that Fed is trying to buy credibility. They have been behind inflation for a long period of time.
In many ways, the Fed is well served by feeding that hawkish narrative into the market.
The Nifty slipped about 130 points from the day's high. We're down 0.5% on the benchmark indices.
67% of our revenue is application-centric.
The principal extension of tenure up to 10 years, now this is an established thing for the TSB. For the nationalized banks at least, it can become a precedent, so to speak.
After yesterday's block deal, close to 13% stake, they continue to hold around 4,400 crore worth of stake as far as Paytm is concerned.
Now the other brothers from the Haldiram family are now merging their operations to create one snacking behemoth that will then file for a mega IPO.
Overall, you'd have to say it's range-bound with a negative bias at this point in time.
All right, so this is the last 60 minutes of the day and the week. You're with us here on Closing Bell. I'm Prashant. With me in the studios, Rima, on the newsroom floor, Nigel. Guys, hi. Good afternoon. And, you know, it's not quiet. I mean, it's lower. You know, yesterday it was quiet. Day before yesterday, around 2:30, not very much was happening. It's been that way. But today it's more, I wouldn't say decisively down, but it's more down than what we've seen recently. Mid-caps and small caps are a bit more under pressure. So, you got almost a 1% cut in the mid-cap index, the small-cap index. You know, advanced decline, naturally, there is 2:1 in favor of declines. We started exactly in the opposite direction. 3:1 advances to declines in the morning when we started, but it's all flipped. Defense names are seeing some profit booking, and you're seeing this, right? Individual, well-liked, well-owned, HNI-focused, retail-focused names, liquid names correcting from the mid-cap space, and defense comes top of the minds, HAL, BDL, etc. I mean, you're seeing some pullback, Mazgaon Dock, etc. New age digital companies, they're broadly doing well. So, you know, you look at Policy Bazaar, which is PB Fintech, Nykaa, Nazara, they're all doing well, except Delivery. Delivery is down sharply, but that is largely because about 30% of the ownership lies with two entities, SoftBank and Tiger Global. And I think, you know, those shares become free to trade around the 20th of November. I think maybe tomorrow or starting on Monday. So that is Delivery, which is in focus. Stocks down about 4.5%. I guess nervousness ahead of that is a large block. And I mean, if what Tiger has done recently is anything to go by, what they did in Zomato, what they did in PB Fintech, I mean, they've been sellers on day one when the lock-in frees up. So we'll track this one as we go along. Rima, hi.
Hi, and what a week, right? This is the week where we thought we were going to get and hit those all-time high levels, but that's eluded us. But this is also the week when many of these beaten down emerging markets made a comeback. So this week, the Nifty is down about 0.5%, but Hang Seng is up 3.8%. The Taiwanese markets are up 3.5% for this week. So they made a roaring comeback. Is this just a cyclical trade for a lot of investors because these markets are down 45% from their all-time high levels? We'll wait to see. But right now, from beaten down levels, there was some buying which came through this week for a couple of these markets. Nigel, what are you tracking?
Well, you know, what's clear is that 18,450, 18,500, that's going to be a bit of a resistance zone. And we've been making this point here on Closing Bell itself. And today as well, if you look at it, you know, two strikes are very active. 18,300, 18,400 call. Big open interest built up at both these two strikes. Now, today, the day's high is around 18,400, 18,395 to be precise. And then we went down to around 18,210. That's the low of the day. But we're seeing a bit of a bounce out there. The good news is there is support at around 18,000, 18,100. And I say this because the 18,200 put that continues to see open-ended build-up. You put in, you plug in the premium out there, and that's how the 18,100 odd mark should hold out. And the 20 DMA comes in closer to around 18,000 odd. So that's a crucial zone. Holding on to that zone will be very, very important. If you can hold on to it, well, the uptrend is pretty much intact. This is par for the course. We're seeing 150, 200 point pullback. Par for the course, maybe some consolidation will not hurt anyone, because we get into expiry next week. And getting into expiry, actually, the bulls will be missing the shots in the system. because now, in fact, the markets are moving lower, but there's no shorts to cover out. So let's see how this plays out. But otherwise, that's the broad range out there. 18,100 odd on the downside, 18,450 odd on the upside. Rima?
Okay, and here's what we have for you on Closing Bell today. Stocks continue to wobble around amidst mixed global cues. Financial managed some gains, while consumer durables and autos drag. An important opinion coming in from big market voices. Mike Wilson and Nilesh Shah catch excerpts from our conversations later on in the show. PB Fintech and a whole bunch of PSU banks are buzzing in trade following news flow. Detailed analysis lined up on the show. And finally, we'll be joined by our Alpha Manager for the day, Anand Shah of ICICI Pru AMC, to discuss his top portfolio bets. All this and more in the next 60 minutes.
Okay, how should you position yourself, though, as we begin this last 60 minutes of trade? Mitesh,